I'm Donna Blanchard, and this is your ThinkTech News for Friday, September 25th, 2015. Yesterday, Pope Francis made history as the first pontiff to address Congress, and today he addressed the United Nations. He praised their efforts to reach a global compact to fight poverty and climate change. He then rebuked them for putting political interests ahead of human suffering in the Middle East. He voiced his concern for persecuted Christians and demanded that action be taken on behalf of the global poor, saying, quote, "They are cast off by society, forced to live off what is discarded and suffer unjustly from the consequences of abuse of the environment. These phenomena are part of today's widespread and quietly growing culture of waste." By the way, it's rumored that moments before he was elected Pope, a Brazilian cardinal told Francis, "Don't forget the poor." Well, after addressing Congress yesterday, he traveled to the Harriet Tubman Women's Shelter and dined with 300 guests, most of whom are homeless, felons, mentally ill, victims of domestic violence, substance abusers, or combinations thereof. Muslims are required to visit Mecca in Saudi Arabia to complete a Hajj at least once during their lives. That is going on now. As the pilgrims traveled from one site to another, for some reason, security forces closed exits from a packed area and a stampede broke out. 717 people were killed and nearly 900 injured. Mismanagement and the victims themselves are being blamed for not following procedures. The Saudi monarchy considers itself the global guardian of Orthodox Islam and takes great pride in protecting the holy sites and their millions of annual visitors. But just 2 weeks ago, during preparations for the Hajj, a crane fell and killed more than 100 visitors, and hotel fires in the area recently have injured several others. Sir Elton John requested an audience with Russian President Vladimir Putin to discuss the status of gay rights in Russia. Last week, Elton Instagrammed that Mr. Putin had called him, but that turned out to be a hoax by two Russian satirists, Vladimir Krasnov and Alexei Stolyarov, posing as Mr. Putin and an interpreter. But later, Mr. Putin, the real Mr. Putin, decided he wanted to talk with Elton John. He gave him a jingle and said, "I know that you were pranked by the telephone guys. Don't be upset with them. They're harmless, although that, without a doubt, does not justify them." He then said that he recognized that Elton John is a, quote, "popular performer," and in the future, if their schedules coincide, he would be ready to meet with him and discuss any questions that are of interest. Earlier this month, during a visit to Ukraine, Mr. John told the BBC's diplomatic correspondent that he wanted to meet with Mr. Putin in person, calling the Russian president's approach toward gay people isolating and prejudiced. Russia has, among other actions, moved to classify gay propaganda as pornography, and it is illegal for same-sex couples to adopt children in Russia. And those fellows who pulled the prank on Sir John are taking some of the credit for Mr. Putin's phone call, saying, "We are very proud that we hastened the meeting between the president and Elton John." Donna Blanchard, ThinkTech News. Happy Aloha Friday, everyone.